What's up YouTube, Fade Through here. Season 1 is just around the corner and this weekend we got a taste of what's to come. After playing the closed test server for a few days, I wanted to answer one question. Does it live up to the hype? In this video I'm going to try to answer that by going over 5 areas that I think are the most important pieces of the update personally, and yeah, let's dive in. So first up, the graphical overhaul. The update looks unreal. They completely overhauled the lighting in the game, which not only looks great, but helps you see what's going on more clearly. Enemies stand out more, the terrain looks incredible, there's less choppiness and sharp edges, the foggy bloom of lights are gone, and the sun actually pours through the trees. It's not something I was expecting in this update, but I'm actually happy they took some extra time to add that level of polish to the game. It seems like there's some sort of volumetric lighting happening, I'm not 100% sure, but it just feels like a different game now. It feels a little more immersive. The weather patterns look incredible. The rain drips down your scopes on your weapons. Like it's hard to describe. It's one of those things you just have to feel yourself when you get in the game. And next up, maps. I think I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this section because I think each map deserves their own video. But I will say the maps are amazing. TV Station is probably one of my favorite maps I've ever played in any FPS game, and I'm not just saying that. It is so good. It has a bit of a Labs feel, but I think trumps Labs hands down. The layout of the map is 5 quadrants, so northwest, northeast, southwest, southeast, and then the center area. It feels like 5 miniature POIs and combat zones sewn together in a way that just makes sense. There's a first floor, a second floor, and just sort of the way the combat works is it flows towards the center and southern half of the map. They've brilliantly added scavs all over the map that are constantly fighting each other. So you have some like sound cues when enemies sort of approach you or get close, because you'll hear scavs get shot with weapons that aren't the ones the scavs are using. I don't know if this is like actually intentional, but it makes it so you're not getting snuck up on as easily as you're exploring the map. It's like there is like a notification that people have come into your region, even though you probably spawned near someone already. It's really brilliant. The scavs also don't spawn, except for a few areas, spawn in massive packs like in Armory. You're not gonna just jump over and land in a pile of scavs and they're just gonna blow off all your limbs, right? There's many times where I would be walking down a hallway and I would see a single scav, which was a really cool experience, and they look juiced too. The scavs all have like T4 ammo. I didn't see any purple ammo, which is really a nice feature. The loot is incredible. I could go on and on. Yeah, it's definitely my favorite map. I'm going to be maining this for sure. It looks good. It feels good to play. The extracts are unique and they have a timer feature. Yeah, I could go on and on. Next up was Armory. I was a little sad when TV Station got closed down, to be honest. Armory is a cool map. It feels very unique in the game flow, that everybody's sort of rushing this central point for the best loot. There is POIs outside of Armory, but as you can tell, a lot of the good loot is clearly in the actual Armory itself. The first few matches we joined, we ran into T7s immediately and proceeded to run into T7s every other game. For that reason, I don't know if I'll be playing this map. I'm personally not a huge fan of T7 gameplay. I put in hundreds of hours of T7s into the closed beta, and at this point I'm kind of looking for something different. Yeah, I personally did not play a lot of Armory. Once Armory was out, I did go back to the original branch. I probably won't be playing it too much in the release. Yeah, it just didn't feel as fun to me. I felt like a little bit bored. TV Station hit such strong notes that it felt like a step backwards personally. And yeah, next up, the weapons. Basically, I'm gonna just go over the 3 big ones in my mind, and that is the HK, the MDR, and the Vector. The HK was a blast to play with, and this is kind of how I think the balancing should go moving forward. Is reducing the recoil spray of a lot of weapons to make more weapons viable. The HK was a laser. It was really fun. It felt like Tarkov's new recoil pattern. It felt powerful. It sounded good. Its ergonomics was good. It's just everything about it. Like, I loved it. It's definitely going to be a really fun gun to play. It's also going to be very expensive to run, unfortunately. By the end of the beta, or the last few days of the beta, I think it was like 600k, 700k to build a meta HK, and it could just be because a lot of people want to try it, but I get the feeling a lot of people are going to want to try it on Season 1 release as well. Next up, the MDR. It, like other games, doesn't have a lot of modding options, but it is a really fun gun to use. It has a slower firing rate than the HK, but it still hits like a truck. The one thing with both of these weapons is the ammo type is limited, so that if you're firing into T6 armor, it's going to absorb some shots. So the firing rate of the HK definitely makes it a superior gun, in my opinion. Next up, the Vector. So the thing with the Vector is, I think it's really held back, by its ammo usage or ammo type. So right now we have the 45 and the 9x19. The 45 is T3, the 9x19 goes up to 4, tier 4 with the 7N. It's going to be hard for me to reach for those guns in Forbidden. But yeah, I think that if we get another bullet for the 45 or the 9x19, I think these weapons will become a staple. They're really fun to use. There's just something about the fast run and gun gameplay that I do really like. So yeah, fingers crossed that they get a new bullet, that kind of thing. There is actually one additional weapon I'd like to talk about, which is the USAS 12. This thing is crazy. This shotgun is wild. I didn't put it on my list originally because I think it might get a nerf at some point. It is very strong. It's basically the leg meta beast that we all fear. 2 taps legs. It's incredibly accurate. You can shoot it while jumping and it still hits its target. It's wild. So yeah, I think it's gonna get a nerf. I'm not 100% sure. We'll see, but it is very, very strong and a very good contender for this list. Next up, balancing. So there's some actually huge changes in here that once I played with this stuff, it felt incredible. So first off is the foul nerf. Heavily reduced the ability to spray with that gun. This gun is propped up by the bullet, which is M61 and M62. So the foul nerf is sort of trying to get the foul into a better position, but I think the main issue is the bullet itself. The foul does feel very strong still. You can one tap, which is the thing with the gun, is that it shoots so accurately, so fast. 2-tap thorax, the TTK is insane. So maybe a nerf to M61 will help kind of get it into a better position where other guns become more viable. I'm not sure. Yeah, we'll have to see. I think a good option could be that maybe reducing the damage on the M61 so that you can't 2-tap thorax. If you had to 3-tap thorax, for example, it would make a huge difference. Next up, the Mosin nerf. I think this is a great change. The ability to 1-tap SNB tier 4 to the chest. Get rid of it. It's not a good feeling for the game. I'm super happy they're actually going through with this. These are changes that a lot of us have requested, and it's amazing to see that they're actually listening. The next up is the SJ nerf. Thank you so much for this. I have seen so many people running naked SJs and running around like it's a shotgun. It's going to be a lot different in this season. The ADS speed, all of that stuff has been heavily reduced and nerfed so that it's going to be harder to run and gun with it. You're not going to see as many hollow sight SJ users with no armor in Forbidden, which is a very important change. It's going to be put into its role, which is that of a sniper rifle. You know, you're going to need to put a big scope on it and play at a distance. I think next up we need to remove the ability to 1-tap T5 armor with it. It's the only counter is T6, which doesn't feel like a valid thing in my eyes. Next up, flashlights got a massive buff and they feel great. I was a little hesitant about this going in when I thought maybe every single person is going to be using flashlights, but I didn't see that many. They are very powerful for countering pixel peeking and corner peeking. something I would do often is run the HK with a right-hand peak flashlight. And if I knew someone was around the corner with M61, I would just give them a quick flashlight, they would shoot, and then I would go back in and full spray, and they would often miss the next few shots because they're just blinded. Again, with a flashlight, you give away your position. They know you're coming, so they can counter it with grenades. There's a lot of stuff that they can do. So it surprised me that I enjoyed playing with flashlights as much as I did. We'll see how it goes in Season 1. I might be regretting these words eventually. But yeah, so far so good. It's a welcome change, a welcome addition to the game for me personally. And last up is quality of life. There is a number of changes here that I think I could go over. I'm going to pick maybe my favorite 3. These are things that I wasn't even expecting, and I'm really happy that they've been added. So first up, while reloading magazines and healing, you can move items around your inventory. This is something that I didn't think they would ever change, but I'm really happy they did. You know, it might go against the realism of the game, but I don't think that this game is really necessarily going for hyper realism, you know? It fits perfectly. It speeds up the combat flow. It speeds up a lot of things in the middle of a match, which is awesome. You know, you can drink water while also moving magazines around. You can reload your mags while also moving stash items around or folding your it's so good. It's so good. As you put items into your stash, the camera will follow the item that is placed. So if you have an item in your inventory and you're fully scroll down to the bottom of your stash container and you right click and there's space at the top, it'll put the item at the top and it'll also pull the camera to where that item is placed. And I think that's just a small little addition that is a great quality of life. Sometimes you'll put an item into your inventory and be like, oh shit, where did that go? Find it. Now you don't have to worry about that. Another quality of life that I'm very excited about is they have added a bunch of additional stash spaces. So not only do you have the free stash space from your quest, there's going to be 2 additional 150 slots that are barter trades. You can also get a keychain from this barter, which is a 2x3. Stash spaces that are added without having to pay real life currency is a huge feature that I'm very grateful they're adding. Stash space in this game is very valuable. Having more of it allows us to get in and out of raids quicker and just have more fun in the game in general. And yeah, so in that I would like to answer the question, does the update live up to the hype? Absolutely. It has blown my expectations out of the water. There are so many other little features and additions to the game that I haven't even covered in this, like the battle pass and skins, charms, sprays, gestures. It is just fully loaded to the brim with new content, and it 100% lives up to the hype. I am so excited for this release. It is going to be a long 9 days, I think, from now. But yeah, I cannot wait. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. My name is Fade Through. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe. And if you'd like to join us over on Twitch, I stream Arena Breakout Infinite 5 days a week. Thank you so much. Peace.